I hated my life when I was living up country. I come down here having never sailed, never been on a boat. You just get to go away for 5 days, you can turn your phone off. You don't have to deal with anything. All that matters is what's going on that boat. And it's brilliant to have that sort of minimalistic view on life. My name's Jim. I am one of the skippers and volunteer coordinator for Starboard. I've been an employee for 6 months and I've been a beneficiary for 18 months. During the season, so when we're sailing, I'm generally away sailing 3 to 4 sort of weeks of the month. That's doing anything from mile builders to mindfulness cruises, up to now where I'm just starting to get to a level to teach, as I am doing my cruising instructor next year. One of my main roles as well is I'm chief mate and training to be the skipper for Spirit of Falmouth, which is obviously our flagship, our bit of pride and my personal favourite boat that we have in our fleet. I think I finally found a place where like-minded people who might be in the same sort of place gives you an environment where you can be safe and you can admit vulnerability. I think generally as veterans, and especially as male veterans, it seems that you can't tell anyone that you're in a bad place. And not that we ever provide therapy or anything like that, but everyone will put an arm around you and say, "Are you all right?" And you always say yes, and then they go, "Are you all right?" And that's the difference of this place. People actually care, they want to be engaged. Well, for me as a skipper, one of my favourite things is seeing somebody who's looking at the deck on Monday who won't say anything to anyone, and on Friday is a completely different person. And that's not through anything special other than being on a boat and being re-engaged with a team. And I think personally, I felt like I was missing a team. I spent a lot of time on my own, a lot of time feeling very paranoid about everything and not being able to trust anybody. Starboard's mission statement is "We sail veterans." That's it. That's all. I say that's all we do, but within that there's so many subcategories. You can come down and we can go for a really nice cruise. We can go 4 or 5 hours up the road or up the river, sit there on the hook. But if you like sailing and you're really engaged with it and that's what you think, "Oh, I really like this," we are going to push you. We'll put you on a yacht master scheme. I was not a shiny veteran when I turned up. I was ill. I was 9.5 stone because of my previous substance abuse. I didn't like people. I walked into the office, there were 30 odd people in there, and I walked straight back out. One of the other skippers, I left Portsmouth at 5:30 in the morning. I got here about 4. And I said, "Not for me, thanks anyway, I'm going." And he said, "Well, how are you going to get back?" And I said, "Well, I'll get a train." And he went, "There's no trains going, you might as well get on Spirit." And I will always be grateful for that moment, because if he hadn't said that, I honestly don't think I'd be here. I was in a really, really bad place. In January, I tried to make a train line, then got sectioned. Every day waking up and being pissed off that you've woken up, it almost felt like a superpower, that if it kept going tits, it doesn't really matter because it's all going to end tomorrow, it's all going to end tonight. I'd somehow managed to get a message to a veteran charity, but they were in London and they were concerned enough that they rang the police, and the police come to my house to do a welfare check. When they got there, they said, "Yeah, we're concerned. However, you haven't done anything, so we can't arrest you, we can't section you. We can take you to the hospital," which is they did. So I went to the emergency department at Southampton General Hospital, and they said, "Yeah, you're ill and you're not very well, but you're well enough that we can't do anything about it." I had a relationship breakup. My child moved away, and then I had a crippling substance abuse problem and was probably not in a particularly healthy place. I was still a functioning substance person. I was, I had a job. I had 25 people that were working underneath me. And then, due to an accident that wasn't my fault, I had a compulsive drug test. Found that I was obviously full of drugs and let go. And then that was it. Everything spiraled after that. I guess because so many people that I was hanging around with were doing it, it didn't seem like it was a problem until it was a problem, and then it's too late. I think what people, especially civilians, seem to really struggle with is military guys look at things very objectively. So if you're in a warehouse team of 6 and 5 of you are working very hard and 1 of you isn't, I really struggle to understand why that guy wasn't being picked up all the time. Why is he not being? And then the moment you say anything to them, it's bullying or it's harassment or, and it's nothing more than what you would say to your oppo when you were in. And it was that transition from military to civvy that become my sort of, I think I went through about 18 jobs in about 2.5 years. I mean, I'm really lucky that if I'm having a really, really crap week, I'll just go and take the boat out the weekend. And they're nice because they're sales that are a sale for me. I'm not selling for anybody else. I don't have to teach, I don't have to instruct. I can just be on a boat and enjoy it. To be able to see the difference that being on the water makes is the whole reason why all of us do this job. Turned Starboard did a tour around the UK called The Long Way Up, and 2 or 3 people that I knew through the military was on that course or on that tour, and they said, I know you don't really like boats, but they're quite a cool charity, and they're doing this thing called the Tudor Run, which was from Falmouth to London and back. They said, oh, they're looking for people, you might get a space on the way up. And I was like, yeah, okay, I'll do it. So I spoke to Helen, our operations manager. She sent me the forms and I just looked at them and I went, yeah, cool. And then a couple of weeks went past and she rang and said, so, are you coming? And I was like, yeah, no, I am. She went, right, I need forms by Friday. And I thought, and every time I've opened them up, it was just so overwhelming. Filling a form in was too much effort. Not too much effort, it was just overwhelming just to sit there and be. And also, because I'm not a veteran that's been away as like other people have, I didn't really feel like I deserved it. Like, my military career was fine, it was everything afterwards that where it all went wrong. And I just went, maybe not. Like, I just feel like I'm taking somebody else's space. And Helen rang and said, no. It's affected by service. That means that could be anything. So I'm going to do the form over the phone now, and she did. It's about an hour and a half I was on the phone with her, and she said, right, we're going to be down in 2.5 weeks. And I went, yeah, I'll be there. It was such a small obstacle that was really, really big. And I say to everyone that I meet now, if you're having one of them moments where you can't ring somebody or you can't fill a form in to come down here, ring us. We understand. In my head, it was a huge deal not being able to fill a form in because it was admitting that first little bit of weakness. But as a skipper now, I see it all the time. It's only big to yourself. It's not big to us as a charity. Like, we will do anything that we can to help veterans come down here and sail. I can't speak for all the skippers, but for myself, I know how hard it is to walk through that door. So the fact that you've even come there, for me, is a big tick, because that means you've really thought about it. You've really come in. So, and we will never say that you've wasted our time. If you take a day skipper's course and it takes you 7 times to do your day skipper, that's fine. It's no big deal. If you get on the boat on the Monday and Tuesday morning you're like, it's too small, it's too quick, it's too soon, we'll just come back alongside, But don't think that that's the end of it. Helen will contact you, or one of the skippers will contact you in a couple of weeks. Make sure you're okay, how are you doing? I can safely say in 18 months that I've been here, not once have I ever thought, you've wasted my time, not once. I come down here and I was on Spirit, and Spirit's probably the most anti-yacht boat that you could be on. She's a working boat. I wear steel toe cap boots on that boat. I wear work trousers. I come down here with a backpack. I didn't have the right kit. I didn't even know what kit I needed. I didn't even know what I didn't know. And it made no odds, because how can you learn to do something if you already know it? So all the instructors here are fantastic. They're all people that have been around the military or in the military. They all know their trade to the absolute top of their ability. So naturally, by osmosis, you become a better sailor because you take little bits of them, little bits of them, and little bits of them. So you transform into this person who suddenly understands what sailing's about. I've never felt judged here, and you know, I would say that I've been pretty well behaved. But at the start, when I was a beneficiary, there was definitely a transition zone where there were some questionable behaviours. If you imagine you've lived in a world that's full of darkness and there's this tiny, tiny chink of light at the end of it, which is a yachtmaster. Yachtmaster is a licence to travel around the world for free on somebody else's boat, and all I have to do is keep my head down for 9 months and not be an idiot. If someone said that to you, it's simple, isn't it, on plain paper? One of the first big moments for me was I got a little bit of responsibility on Spirit. So Spirit, obviously our flagship, she's not like a yacht. She needs 4 or 5 people to sail her, so she needs regular volunteer crew. And we're always on the lookout for volunteers. And I was really lucky. I have some weird luck where I always just happen to be in the right place at the right time. Sometimes it's for good things, sometimes it's for bad things, but I come down for 4 days, and it's always been the joke. I only come down for 4 days. And on the Monday when I went to go home, one of the crew dropped out for a trip on the Tuesday. And I remember thinking, I really want to go on this boat and I really want to go on this trip. But I don't really deserve to be here. I shouldn't be here really. I'm just sort of, you know, playing at it. Like, I don't know anything about sailing. I had been on a boat for 48 hours at that point. And one of the skippers come over and said, "What are you doing next week? Are you working at the moment? Are you employed?" And I said, "No." I said, "You know, just signed off for mental health." And he said, "Cool. If you would like, there's a place on this boat." And then suddenly you're part of a crew and you've got tiny responsibility. I did. I was a T-boy. And you think, oh, that's you know, a small job. I don't know if you ever tried to make brews for 18 people on a boat that's rolling. It's really hard. And then, you know, suddenly I felt like I had just this tiny, tiny place in this massive cog that was turned starboard. And then it grew. And then by the time I'd started to do my day skipper and things like that, I was bosun of Spirit. And being bosun of Spirit means you're part of the turn to starboard team. If Ian hadn't taken me on as the bosun, I'd be dead. I know I would. I'd be dead or in prison or killed in prison. Because I lived such a lifestyle that was not maintainable and makes everybody hate you. Everybody, your family, your friends. I've lost so many good people who will no longer associate with me because I was an idiot. It is life, and that sucks. But when you get an opportunity, and everybody here knows my past and I've never been judged for it, and I can't explain to you why I had this feeling that I needed to make this stick. I think it was because I'd hit such a low point that I couldn't go any further down. But you can't look at it like that. You need to look at it minute by minute. Just survive the next minute. Get to the next minute. And it sounds really small. And to a lot of people who are probably watching this, they won't understand it. And to the people who do understand it, ring us. We'll take you sailing. I'm aware of the impacts that we have on people. I've met a veteran called Jar, who I had a 20-minute conversation with outside in the car park. It was a Sunday. I was just mooching around here, sorting stuff out, ready for the boats, and he'd come in. And I've seen that man go from this tiny shell of a man who was getting some real devastating news to the guy who lights this place up every time he comes in here. Everybody wants to say hello to him. Everybody wants to make sure he's all right. And you can look at Jar's story. It's on our YouTube channel. It's fascinating. And for me, it's quite emotional because he was one of the first people I personally, as a skipper, put on a boat and put on this journey through the Yachtmaster. The future holds for me, skipper of a big trip on Spirit. Want to do something cool with her. I have my cruising instructor booked in for January, so I can take people from comp crew up to day skipper. So hopefully we can take more people, teach them how to sail. The same applies to me that it applies to all beneficiaries. If I fail a course, I fail a course. The resilience building comes in many forms on Turn to Starboard. Some of it is getting up at 2 in the morning to go and do a watch in the freezing cold, in the rain, on a Thursday, when all you're thinking is, tomorrow lunchtime we'll be home, tomorrow lunchtime we'll be home. For me, when I was doing my Yachtmaster, I've never been so nervous, but never felt so in control, because of the fact that A, I've got this amazing support group around me. B, I honestly think we deliver some of the best sailing training in the country. We put so much effort into our guys to get through their Yachtmaster because we want you to be the best Yachtmaster so you can go out into the scene. Turn to Starboard, as always, will always need more volunteers, more veterans. I think we got 150 subscribers. If every single one of them sent us a new veteran, we'd be able to go and get another boat and sail it. We always need new veterans, we always need volunteers. I know how hard it is to make that first contact. And if you're sat here thinking, I really want to do this, even if you just put a comment in on the YouTube channel or an email at info@turntostarboard, come here, you have to come through that door. Once you're through that door, be it virtually or physically, we can help and we will assist, but we can't make you. So at the very least, if you hit the subscribe button, you can watch Turn to Starboard's journey, because we are on a journey. We're going to do bigger and better things, and we're only going to get bigger.